Hello, it's Andy on my Derbyshire Rural Rider channel, although today I'm being the Sheffield Rural Rider because I'm going through entirely rural part of Sheffield. I'll give or take a few little streets with a few houses on. It's nearly all hillsides and great scenery and just the sort of roads I like to ride on, really. I say my Derbyshire Rural Rider channel, it's not my only channel, that's why I'm saying I'm not just known as Derbyshire Rural Rider. So the opening tune today, I thought I'd pick Run to the Dore. Probably sort of semi-appropriate because Dore is the village that we leave in. It's a song from the 60s by Clinton Ford, a musician that my dad seemed to quite like. He did a few songs. One was called Take Care on the Road, which is probably more appropriate to this than the song that I did use. So we're just heading out of the built-up part of Dore, and then we're into countryside for a bit, and then there's a couple of roads that do go back into sort of urban type streets, but it's mostly a nice ride, and it's to one of my favourite villages to visit, Bradfield. I've got a few filmed rides there, but there's several different directions you can approach from. Perhaps the best known one is via Mortimer Road, which is also known as Strines, because the Strines pub's a prominent feature there. It's a very, very popular one for bikes to visit. In fact, there was a film that featured it called Heartlands with what's his name? That was in that Brian Clough film. The name will come to me in a minute. Is the one who's going to be the new host on House of Games, taking over from Richard Osman. It'll come to me in a minute, and if not, I'll put it on as a caption. So we're just doing a short bit of the A625 and then turn off again back into the country roads. I thought I'd probably leave the engine noise on for a bit. It's not great sound. It doesn't sound like a Harley Davidson or even one of those single cylinder 350s that seem to make a great chugging sound. I've been contemplating getting a new exhaust for it to make it sound a bit better and look better, but it's still not going to sound like Harley Davidson, is it? So as my bike's only about just over a year old, I thought I'd leave it a bit longer before I get any more modifications. In fact, speaking of modifications, I've just a couple of months ago I had heated grips fitted, and the day I had them done it turned out to be a heat wave, and I've not used them a lot since, apart from first thing in the morning, but I've had them on a bit of today because although it's the middle of May, it feels more like middle of March for the temperatures. It's not very warm at all, but at least it's dry weather, so you can wrap up for warmth better than you can wrap up to keep the rain off, really, because I always find that even with the pin lock on, I still get a bit of steam on the helmet visor on rainy days. So we're heading up a road that I've been on a few times before, but I've usually approached it from the Ola Bar end in Derbyshire, and then I did actually realise I was on the same road when I saw the pub at the end, because that's one that I've passed quite a few times going in different directions. The Norfolk Arms, the one that always seems to be busy. So approaching from this direction, it's across the road, and then rather than carry on on that road, which is the main road that runs from Sheffield to Hathersage. I go across there and down some more country lanes. Quite a bit of traffic on this one, but for most of the ride I've more or less got the road to myself. I've had to avoid any cars. Here we are approaching the junction where the Norfolk Arms is. I go more or less straight across here. Don't carry on the road, because it was only a few weeks ago I did one coming past from the Sheffield end, so like I say, I turn almost immediately right after my left turn, and then straight back into some countryside again. Scenery in the distance coming on, which just shows what a nice area the rural parts of Sheffield are. Countryside I didn't really appreciate, because I know some of the border of Sheffield is in the Peak District, but I don't think this part is. I think this is just a nice part on its own. I believe is it 7 hills that surrounded Sheffield, and I guess Sheffield must be in quite a low-lying area. I know they've had problems with floods when they've had really heavy rain in some of the areas around Meadowhall and that area. Better take care of these walkers going past. There's a bit in front that looks quite built up, but we don't go through very much of it. Pretty much stick to the countryside most of the way. Now this is where my beeline navigation starts acting daft with me. You can just see it on the bottom of the screen probably, and it definitely says turn left here, or at the bottom of here. So turn left I did. At that T-junction where cars are just passing now. So it clearly tells me to turn left. It's not me that's misreading it. So here we go up this road to the left. Still pointing upwards. And suddenly it changed its mind. It's turned itself on its head. So about to do a bit of a U-turn. I put several waypoints on to make sure it went on the route I wanted, but I can only assume I put one in wrong. I may have put the road in general and it's picked itself a spot, although when I looked on the map on my phone that links to my beeline, it didn't show that it should go up that way and turn around and come back. But on the relive video that'll be on the end showing the map, that clearly shows how to turn around and get back en route. So here we are, back at the junction we pulled out of. Nice little windy, almost single track roads. I was just going to say you don't meet many cars and then one appears around the bend, but it's been a pretty good route most of the way. Fortunately I'm not affected by that diversion because it wasn't part of the planned route, where that road's closed. That looks a nice property, but it's really close to the road. A bit overexposed here going over the top of the hill. I was going to set my exposure for -0.7. And it goes in jumps. The next alternative is -0.3, which is what I've got at the moment. I was going to put it on that originally, but it got a bit clouded over from when I set off from home. It was quite bright sunshine. But I think this has been alright most of the way. There's only the odd bits where you suddenly go into sunshine and it flashes a bit. It's a lot better than settings used to be when I originally got it. Right, now take a look at this white van that's just pulled out on me. I don't mean it pulled out too close, but it's what it does next. It made me wonder what he was doing. So there's no indication, so I'm assuming he's just pulled up to let cars come past the other way, so I pulled up behind him. And as you see, there's a car pulling up the other way. So I stopped behind him.
Didn't know he'd stopped.
So assumptions are wrong. He wasn't just pulling up to let cars go past. They're actually parking. I'm supposed to be clairvoyant and guess they were going to do that, of course. let this cyclist go past. Just in the distance, there's a quick view there of the reservoir, which we do get a bit closer to later. I was trying to work out what reservoir it was, because there's quite a lot around this area. So I've had a look on a map, and I've added it at the appropriate place in the video, which is when we get close to it a bit further on. As Dave, that bloke on the motorbike, says, "What a view!" And I think there's some good views around here. You can't beat going around hilly little roads or little lanes. There's quite a few of local YouTubers have said the same. There's Alan, Frogglelight Travels, and Kev, Twisted Spire Rider. They both live fairly close to me, and they both like to go out on similar lanes to this, and we all appreciate that living in Chesterfield we've got countryside close to us in north, south and west, probably a bit less so to the east, where it's pretty much urban all the way to the Nottinghamshire boundary. Once again, quite a short bit of main road before we're back into the countryside again. Now that's what I like to see, narrow lanes ahead. Say it's like a warning, but hopefully that keeps lots of the four-wheel vehicles away, and it's better for us on two wheels. Been quite a few cyclists out today, I've noticed. Must be quite a bit of work going up these hills on them. One thing I've noticed today, they've all been like good riders that don't ride side by side, and they do leave plenty of room to get past, because it does annoy me when I've got room to get past a car but cyclists ride two or three abreast slowly and you just can't get past. But a positive word for the cyclists today, they've all been very good. I'm not going to put a caption by all the road names, because it will show up at the end on the Relive map. Once again it got a bit overexposed. I went from being shaded by trees into a sunny spot, because the camera doesn't react that quick when it changes exposure, although it sorts itself out after a few seconds, but it can be a bit blinding by the sun, I suppose. Some more nice stone buildings, but as I said before, they're very close to the road, and these roads are great during daylight, but I wouldn't want to be using them at night. It must be that dark. You have difficulty navigating them if you don't know them really well. My last upload to YouTube, it's got nearly 800 views. I couldn't believe it. It's about 20 times what I get on my normal ride videos, and all it was a bit of discussion about parking in Matlock Bath, with some maps that I obtained years ago showing where you can actually park on the footpath and where you can't. It just seems that if you put Matlock Bath in the title, lots of people watch it, because one of my first ride videos since when I got this bike, I visited Matlock Bath, so it was in the title then, and that probably got about 3 or 4 times my normal viewing audience. It's strange what attracts people interested in bike videos to looking at clips of Matlock Bath. Just outside that, there's a car damaged at the side of the road. Going quite an indirect route to Bradfield. I mean, you can get there in half the time, I suppose, if you go the most direct route, but that's not the point. I'm not rushing to get from A to B as soon as I can. I'm just looking for the nicest scenery. And as some of the other YouTubers have said, you can do these roads quite as well on the little 125. Beeline navigation's only let me down once on this ride, so that's not too bad going. Because although it shows the turns, it doesn't show a lot of the details. You've got no full size sat nav. couple of dogs there at the side of the road, well behaved, not on leads at all, but it's a good job I'm not filming this ride a week on Monday because they won't be allowed out. It's a bank holiday. So we've got a bit of downhill now into this little bit of built up area. I'm not sure what village it is, to see if it shows up on the relive map. But it's not long before we're back out into the countryside again. Climbing back up again towards some of the best views where I'll do a stop and take a photo while I'm there. That proved out to be a bit trickier than I expected it to be. Pretty good views from here, that's why I took the opportunity to stop and take a picture when there was a space to pull up and do it. Another house a bit close to a bend. You think they'd be in a bit of danger if there's ice on the road and people are daft enough to try and come down in that. Right on the outside of the bend. There's a bit of climb up here to one of the best viewing spots. So we've got a gateway which looks like a good spot to pull in and be safely off the road, which is what I did. So my first attempt was the camber wasn't quite right, so I thought it's gonna fall over. So yeah, manoeuvred it slightly till I got the right angle, because I've only got a side stand on here, not a centre stand. So you've got to make sure you've got the sideways lean about right. So yeah, I'm moving it again to get it into the right spot. If you just look to the left though, there's quite a bit of a ridge to get up, which I hadn't noticed when I first pulled it. So I'm sprottling around for about 3 minutes here, but I thought I'd leave it in the clip anyway. So off I go. Now I think that's called Dam Flask Reservoir, which is a weird sort of name, but in a minute or two I'll put a map up showing the reservoirs. Strangely on this map the reservoirs are all coloured grey, and it's the other sites of interest it's coloured blue, which seems a bit illogical to me, but that's the name of the one that it looks like, looking at the positions on the map and the proximity to Low Bradfield. So immediately after this there's the map showing that. I think photos with the phone are better than screen grabs off the video, so I thought I'd put them in. Then I had my first attempt to go up there. It's a bit of resistance, and the gravel I'm parked on were quite slipping. I weren't getting traction to start with, so I had to go back and have a go at going at one at lower bits, and I think I stalled it once, and then back on road, having made the right pig's ear things. I'm now getting quite close to the village of Low Bradfield. A nice cafe that I've been in a few times. It's overlooking the cricket pitch, and on early occasions when I've visited, I've been to a pub called the Schoolroom, which, as it suggests, is the name of the old village school. I think it might be a bit off shot. It's the other side of the cricket ground, so it might not be visible on this view from the camera on this ride. Still some stunning scenery though. Over to the right hand side. Taking speed steady, there's no point rushing around lanes like this when you don't know when bends are coming up. So this is one of several routes down into the actual village. schoolroom cafe is just ahead on the left. Don't see it properly because we've turned down here. And to the left over the wall there's the bowling green and the cricket ground. And the cafe, I call it, is just on the right here. You'll see it at the very end when I got off the bike and kept the camera on just to have a quick look at the view of it. Quite busy with cars, so it's not a Saturday and it's not a cricket match day. I don't know if people park here and go for walks, because not a lot of places where you can park free for walks. So off the bike, quick look at the cricket ground, and then the cafe is very briefly in the background, and onto the map of the route. So it's goodbye for now then, and I'll see you on the next one.